Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities such as new companies and potential business partners and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.
Happening now on Grid Tonight. Jimmie Johnson is ready to move on after racing in the NTT IndyCar Series full-time in 2022. Why is the 7-time Cup champion returning to the NASCAR Cup Series next year? Lamborghini chose the Iron Lynx to lead its factory LMDh program in 2024. Where will they race next year, and where do the Iron Dames fit into the equation? American Logan Sargent is getting a surprise Formula One free practice run in Brazil with Williams. Can he make up for coming up short in Mexico? Ooh, perfect timing. Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish, and with me as always is Joshua Birch. We encourage everyone to comment in the chat below and ask any questions you have. Now here's Josh with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Good evening to you. Okay, top story. Last week at Phoenix Raceway, Petty GMS announced they were adding another 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion to its ownership group. After spending the last 2 years competing in the NTT IndyCar Series as well, Jimmie Johnson's coming back to NASCAR, this time to become a team owner at Petty GMS alongside Richard Petty and Maury Geiger as well. Between Johnson and the King, that's 14 Cup titles between them. Besides ownership, Johnson will drive select Cup races with Petty GMS and enter the 2023 Daytona 500, but in a non-chartered car, so Johnson will have to race his way into the Great American Race. Photo courtesy of Petty GMS. I bring Kobe in. Does Johnson's involvement in the Petty GMS ownership group solidify the team's future in the sport? And it's surprising to see Johnson to take this role.
And before I answer your question, Josh, I'm sure Jimmie Johnson hopes he doesn't pull a Fernando Alonso and end up missing the Daytona 500. That'd be really bad for Jimmie. For the longest time, we had the past champions provisional. If you're like the most recent past champion, if for some reason you can't qualify, you would get that one slot on the grid because you were a NASCAR Cup Series champion. And with this charter system, that's off the books. So Jimmie will have to race his way in unless someone leased the charter to him for the Daytona 500. But we'll wait and see how that turns out. But answering the question, I think Johnson joining Petty GMS is really, really good for NASCAR, and it definitely solidifies the sport's future. I remember thinking back when Eric Jones won the Southern 500, when Richard Petty and Mark Gallagher were saying that, they're getting up there in age, so they're not going to be around forever. So they want to get this Petty GMS team rolling. They want to get the ball rolling and making sure that they're going to be building a Cup Series program that's capable of going to the playoffs year after year, making playoff runs, competing for wins and championships. That's ultimately what they want to do. So they see, so back at Darlington, they were basically saying that they have a short window to perform considering their age, since they're not going to be around long term. And Jimmie Johnson, who's obviously younger than the King and Maury Gallagher, I think this sets up a great succession plan for them, thinking about the long term future when Gallagher and Petty are no longer around. I think Jimmie Johnson can take over this team and potentially lead it to a lot of great places. And I admit I am very surprised to see him take this route. I never thought of Jimmie Johnson as a team owner type, but what do I know? It'll be interesting to see how Jimmie's able to take on this new role, because this is something completely different than what he's done before.
It's a scary image thinking of it without the king being involved in any form of NASCAR as well. It's been such a staple for decades in the sport as well. Let's hope it remains that for a long, long time in the future. And moving back to Jimmie Johnson as well, during his time at Hendrick Motorsports, he saw how Rick Henderson ran his organization, putting together a strong group of people to win many races and multiple championships. Then his time in IndyCar with Chip Ganassi Racing, another organization with a championship-winning pedigree. He's clearly been in environments that know how to put a competitive program on the track. Petty GMS is a team on the rise with two promising drivers in their 2023 driver lineup. Eric Jones, who won the Southern 500 earlier this year, and in the King's iconic number 43. I remember that race, actually talking with you, Kobe, as well, during that post-race show as well. In the number 43 car, though, he got let go from Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota as well. He came here with something to prove. Noah Gragson, of course, moving up from Xfinity, is an exciting young prospect who you can build around as well. His crew chief, Luke Lambert, is coming to Cup with him as well. Can Johnson eventually get Petty GMS on par with Hendrick? And will he be able to bring out the best in Jones and Gragson?
Before I answer your question, Josh, got a comment right here in the chat room from our own Adam Limmery saying Jimmie Johnson back in NASCAR. Oh, I love it. It's like Jimmie Johnson took a couple of years vacations, like I guess a sabbatical from NASCAR, like Alonso did from Formula One, and now he's back doing what he loves. Going to be back in the NASCAR Cup Series racing in the Daytona 500, among other events, and he's going to be around the NASCAR garage in general. You know, being a team owner, checking things. I know he just posted a picture the other day of his first day at the office. You know, going into Petty GMS. And I know that team's going to be very excited to pick his brain and see what ideas he has to make their program faster. And answering your question, Josh, I think it's too soon to say if Petty GMS can get on par with Hendrick. But thinking about the long-term future, who was Jimmie Johnson's rival at Hendrick Motorsports? Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Gordon has an executive role right now, a high executive role right now at Hendrick Motorsports, and a special succession plan once Rick Hendrick's not around anymore. Many people expect Jeff Gordon to take over as team owner. We've seen many great battles on the track between the 24 and the 48 of Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson over the years, with them behind the wheel. And in the future, we may see, you know, Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson as sole owners of the team. With their drivers doing the battle on the track. So I guess it'll be a new chapter of the rivalry between good friends, former teammates, Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson. Be very exciting to see those two in the future, see what they can do with these programs, and especially Jimmie Johnson and Petty GMS. As we mentioned, their team on the rise. Eric Jones did a really good job in that number 43 this year, and I'm sure they're going to build upon that. His teammate Ty Dillon, who's leaving the team for Spire Motorsports, really underperform. I think getting Noah Gragson in this car and some changes they're going to make over the offseason, they have a lot to be excited about. And you mentioned Josh Gragson is an exciting young prospect that you can build around. I think it's really important that he's going to be bringing his crew chief Luke Lambert with him to Petty GMS. They already have that chemistry of working together and finding results, winning races, and, you know, even competing for a championship in the championship 4. I think it's going to be really important to keep that going. And I think Noah Gragson and Eric Jones are going to be an exciting duo. And obviously, you know, considering the experience of Jimmie Johnson, all of his success in NASCAR, I think he can definitely bring out the best in those young drivers as well. And not just Noah Gragson and Eric Jones. GMS also has a truck team as well. So so he'll be able to work with those drivers as well, especially young Daniel Dye, who's going to be moving up to the Truck Series full time next year. Daniel Dye is a really young, exciting talent for Chevrolet. I know he ran into some issues off the track earlier this year. Obviously, he'll need to do some maturing. And I think if anybody can be a mentor to a young up-and-coming driver, it is certainly the 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, Jimmie Johnson.
Absolutely. I've just received some news as well about NASCAR and some start times for next season about the Xfinity Series as well. You can mark this in your diary. Saturday, February 18th at Daytona, Fox Sports 1, 5 p.m. Eastern as well is the start time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series next season, according to this schedule. Just trying to have a look because the start times has been announced for the main NASCAR Cup Series. as well. 11 races will air on Fox in 2023, including the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum, the Daytona 500, and the next 5 point races to start the season as well. Bristol Dirt Race is going to be on Fox in prime time on Easter Sunday as well. Talladega and the Coke 600 and Sonoma Raceway, the final NASCAR Cup Series races on Fox portion of the season. Fox Sports 1 will have 8 NASCAR Cup Series racing, beginning with the duel at Daytona and Richmond, and then the rest 10 races will be broadcast on NBC, one more than in 2022, including the kickoff of NBC's portion of the season at Nashville Super Speedway, and I think a couple more will also then be on the USA networks as well. But Racer.com have just got that information out there as well. So 21 NASCAR Cup races will air on Fox or NBC broadcast networks in 2023. So that's a little bit of breaking news that literally just happened when we were on the year, and I thought it's nice to talk about it in that. So actually, just getting your quick thoughts on that, Kobe. I know this is pretty off script at the moment about it. Good prime time spot there for Xfinity Series to get started as well. 5 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. Is that good for getting the TV audience involved in this great series?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's fine on a Saturday afternoon. You know, since most people don't really have a lot to do. Yeah, but I know there's certainly a lot of criticism, especially with the Cup Series schedule. You know, those late start times. People will scream noon all the time, or even 1 o'clock like it used to be. But NASCAR wants to try to get more closer and into the primetime window. That's why you see a lot more races start. Like 3 o'clock, 3:30, and some very interesting things is, I'm looking at the Cup start times right now. The Chicago Street Race that everybody's so hype about for next year on 4th of July weekend. Yeah, it's great that's on NBC, but at the same time, on a street course, the race is going to start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And yes, during that time, we have extra hours of daylight and all of that. But considering it's NASCAR's first time on a street course, yeah. I would be very surprised if we don't see at least 1 or 2 red flags, for like a big pile up or something. So I'm wondering, starting the Chicago Street Race that late in the evening, are we going to run out of daylight if we're not going to have like actual lights like we see at Singapore with Formula One and all of that? That's certainly that's certainly a concern there, but also it's in the middle of the summer. So I also understand why they would want to start that late at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, because it's going to be very hot, and when you get later in the evening, the sun's going to be going down, and so it's going to cool off slightly. So I understand that decision. Yeah, I had the schedule pulled up on my screen as well. Yeah, got a good mix of Fox in the early start of the season, getting the FS1 as well, then NBC, a lot of USA. Yeah, looks almost similar to what we saw this season. And one big thing, looking at the Truck Series schedule, on Saturday, May 20th, the highly anticipated return of North Wilkesboro Speedway. That's going to be on Big Fox at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. If one race on the Truck Series schedule had to be on network television, I'm really glad it was at North Wilkesboro race, because so many people are very excited about that. And staying on the topic of North Wilkesboro, I think another disappointment is the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro for the Cup Series is going to be on FS1 at 8 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday night. So I think that's certainly something that a lot of people are talking about, because Fox was the one that pushed NASCAR to change the All-Star race from Texas and get back to this historic track, and you push it hard, but it's not on network television. It's still on FS1. So I don't understand that decision at all, but I'm not wearing a suit and a tie, so I guess they know more than I do, obviously.
I just also let you know about the possibility, we've been talking about drivers doing the double, the Indy 500 and the NASCAR Charlotte race as well. Charlotte gets underway May 28th at 6 p.m. Which is a little bit, 2 hours after the scheduled ends. That's just about doable to get from Indy to Charlotte as well. We were talking about the possibility of Jimmie Johnson trying to do the double as well earlier on in the season. So nice bit of breaking news there. And I'm glad that happened. I'll show you, Akko, because we were quite light on the script tonight as well. So that's coming at precisely the right time as well. Last race of the year, though, November 5th at Phoenix on NBC, 3 p.m. Looks like a good one. And the Daytona 500, that will be on Sunday, February 19th on Fox, and the start time 2:30 p.m. Eastern as well. Looking good as well for that. Okay, moving back to our scheduled programming with a little bit of breaking news keeping us through. And into our second, or now third story of the weekend. In recent days, we received two major updates regarding Lamborghini's sports car racing program as well. Iron Lynx was chosen by Lamborghini to lead its factory LMDh program in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and the FIA World Endurance Championship beginning in 2024. Iron Lynx will also return to Lamborghini Supertrofeo and enter the new Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2 in the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup. Try saying that when you're drunk. With number 19, number 63, and number 83 in a 3-car effort. Ahead of their 2024 IMSA prototype campaign, we'll see them enter next year's Michelin Endurance Cup races with the number 19 and number 63 Lamborghinis in the GT category. Image courtesy of Iron Lynx. I'm bringing Kirby back in as well. Mouthful of names with these Cup Series as well, because there's so many GT series. Is Iron Lynx the right choice to become Lamborghini's new flagship team?
Oh, absolutely, Josh. In the short history of the Iron Lynx, they've certainly accomplished a lot in sports car racing all over the world. But I have to say, I'm actually a little surprised that it wasn't one of the more notable Lamborghini teams in GT3 racing. That team is GRT Grasser. They've been one of the most successful Lamborghini teams that we've ever seen, and it really surprises me that they weren't chosen for this program. But still, you can't go wrong with the Iron Lynx. They have a solid program going there. I'm sure they're going to show up at Daytona with a top-notch program and take the fight to the IMSA GT teams, whether it's in GTD Pro or the regular GTD class. But I imagine there is going to be at least one all pro GT entry from the Iron Lynx.
There's some more good news for its sister team as well. The Iron Dames will make their debut in IMSA competition in the Rolex 24 at Daytona and contest all the Michelin endurance races in the number 83 Lamborghini. The all-female driver lineup they've put together across the world have led to plenty of success and strong runs in GT racing. While we don't know the official driver lineup yet for the IMSA programs, some of the most notable Iron Dames are Sarah Bovey and Michelle Gating, with Rachel Frey as well, and Dorian Pinn, due to hopefully get something in the car as well after this season's great performances. Grid Network will go into more detail on this story later on in Women in Motorsports. But Kirby, I want to get your views on this. Is this a huge win for IMSA, getting the Iron Dames on the grid for Daytona and the other endurance races?
Yes, Josh, this is a huge thing for IMSA to get the Iron Dames on the grid. I know for a while we've been hearing rumors that the Iron Dames were going to be coming to IMSA. We didn't know which car or which way or form, but it's official. Iron Dames are going to be in a Lamborghini at the Rolex 24 Daytona. Also going to see them at the 12 hours of Sebring, 6 hours of Watkins Glen, and the Motul Petit Le Mans 10-hour endurance race at Road Atlanta at the end of the year. Now, the Iron Dames is a program, that's known worldwide. You have a lot of people here in the United States who are following the Iron Dames' progress as well, and they've put together quite a competitive program. So I'm assuming they're going to be in the GTD category instead of GTD Pro, but whichever GT category that they're going to be competing in, I'm sure they're definitely going to take the fight to the other teams that we've seen with their programs in GT World Challenge Europe, and also the World Endurance Championship as well. And I think they also have a program in the European Le Mans Series. So the Iron Dames are everywhere, and it's nice to see them put North America on their map as well. I'm sure they're going to be fight up there in the hunt, fighting for the class win when they get into the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. And regardless of which driver lineup we're going to see, Sarah Bovey, Michelle Gaudin, Rahel Fry, Dorian Penn, those are 4 very impressive drivers. So I would be very surprised if we don't see either some of them or all of them in this lineup because the Iron Dames, they're for real.
Let's hope all of them as well. All great drivers as well, and very, very fast. Moving on then to our third story of the evening as well. And this one also came at quite late stages. It was like our NASCAR TV series. We only find it out earlier on today because American Formula 2 driver Logan Sargent is getting another free practice run with Williams F1 in an effort to pick up an additional point towards obtaining an FIA super license. Sargent got 2 runs in FP1 at the Circuit of the Americas and Mexico City, but he didn't reach the required distance in Mexico to earn a point. As a result, Williams is giving him a surprise FP2 run this weekend in Brazil. He'll replace Alex Albon in Saturday's session. This is Sargent's 3rd scheduled outing, and he'll get another one in FP1 at Abu Dhabi and participate in the Young Drivers Test. Photo courtesy of Williams F1. Kirby, do you see, let me rephrase that, do you like Sargent's chances of doing everything he needs to do in order to secure his Williams F1 seat in 2023?
Absolutely, Josh. I think it would have to take a perfect storm of absolutely everything, all the way from A to Z going wrong for Logan Sargent not to get this Formula One seat. The ball is really in his court right now. All he basically has to do is, get this point at Brazil, get at Abu Dhabi, finish where he needs to finish in the F2 standings, which is, basically just finishing the points wherever you finish, and you'll be good. I think he does all of that. It's going to be simple and straightforward. But in life, is as simple and straightforward. I'll just say the chances of Logan Sargent being able to check all these boxes and get the super license to compete in Formula One next year. I think the chances of him doing that are extremely high. But there's also the chances that something could go terribly wrong. So I'm sure a lot of American fans don't want to see that because we've been waiting, since Scott Speed back I believe in 2007 to get a full-time American Formula One driver on the grid, and I think that's going to change in 2023 with Logan Sargent. I don't see him missing out on this opportunity with something going terribly wrong.
Really hope so too. And of course, if Logan Sargent, something does go wrong and he doesn't get the seat, Mick Schumacher is expected to pick up the pieces at Williams for a season as well. But don't forget, super license points can be earned at any time as well throughout the season. So there's nothing stopping Logan Sargent getting some more development time at the start of 2023 and getting the license by as early as, if he has 2 FP1 sessions, I think Monaco. So if he does every FP1 up until Monaco, he'll get the super license points, of course. So there's still time. Even if he doesn't pick it up, he could join mid-season next year. So don't rule out any hope. It's almost a certain now Logan Sargent will be on the F1 grid in 2023 at some point. Okay, now here's Matt White from Grid History.
Grid Endurance Performance Index updates from the past weekend's sports car endurance races as we wind down towards the end of the season. Before we get into what happened this weekend, we've only got 4 more events coming up between now and Christmas to finish off the Grid EPI year, and we've got 2 of them coming this weekend, so we can officially tell you that Raffaele Marciello is the 2022 Grid Endurance Performance Index champion. So congratulations to Lello. He's won 2 championships this year and he's got another crown to add to the mantelpiece, winning the Grid EPI. At the weekend we had 2 events, final races for both of them in the year. Super GT were in action at Motegi. The race winners, Naoki Yamamoto and Tadasuke Makino, winning overall and in GT 500, and Hideki Muto and Leori Kimura winning the GT 300 class. The championships in 500, which is the main category, went to Kazuki Hirame and Bertrand Baguette, and Kyoto Fujinami and JP D'Oliveira winning in GT 300 for the championship. So congratulations to all of them. And we had the final round suspended or postponed by weather from about May to this weekend at the Nürburgring for the NLS. The last round of their season happened on Saturday. Another win in the about 3 or 4 in a row now for Kuba Gimasiak. So he's the NLS champion for the year, and he was joined on the top step this weekend by Kim Louis Schramm. No changes inside the top 20 this weekend of the Grid EPI. So it stays the same as it was last week. Marcello now has been crowned the champion. As I say, we've only got 4 more scoring events to come. 2 of them are this weekend. It's the final round of the season for both the World Endurance Championship there at Bahrain for 8 hours. And then also on Sunday, we have the 3-hour race at Bathurst for the GT World Challenge Australia Series as part of the Bathurst International. Big meeting going on at the mountain this weekend. After that, just to remind you, we've got the Kuwait race for the 24-hour series and the Yas Marina 12 hours for the Intercontinental GT Challenge to finish off the year. So after this weekend, only 2 more chances for people to score points. 4 more races to go in the Grid EPI of 2022. We'll give you the news and results from Bathurst and Bahrain next week.
Thanks, Matt. Next, more motorsports news from around the world. As Kyle Busch Motorsports transitions from Toyota to Chevrolet in the 2023 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season, oh, that sounds so good to say, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, they've agreed to mutually part ways with crew chief Marty Lindley. With Lindley on top of the pit box, he let KBM's number 51 truck to 6 wins in 2 seasons. Replacing him, his crew chief, is NASCAR Cup Series veteran Brian Patty, who leads the top series after spending the last several years working with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And in a statement, Brian Patty says, as a racer, your ultimate goal is to be in a position where you can win races, and the opportunity to work with Kyle and the other drivers on the number 51 truck is one I couldn't turn down. And with Brian Patty's, experience working with Chevrolet, that'll be very helpful for KBM as they transition, because he knows how Chevrolet operates, and that experience of working with GM will really help them out. In the graphic you just saw, courtesy of KBM, and replacing Patty as Stenhouse's crew chief is a familiar name, Mike Kelly. He'll be on top of the pit box at JTG Doherty Racing. Kelly and Stenhouse previously won 2 Xfinity titles together. And before we end our show tonight, we have one race that's happening that we need to do pick a winner for. As you can see, as we get to the nitty gritty towards the end of the motorsports racing season in 2022, I'm still leading by 1 over Joe. So it's going to come down to these final few races. It's certainly going to be a nail biter, just like all the midterm elections that we've had recently here in the United States. Yeah, so I'm very nervous to see if I'll be able to hold on to my lead or not and get another Grid Network pick a winner title. And the race we have to do tonight, Josh, is the season finale for the 2022 World Rally Championship season in Rally Japan. So, Josh, where are you going with?
Well, I've done my research this time around, and I'm going with Sebastian Ogier as well. See, I'm even pronouncing his last name French as well, which is what he is. So looking good as well. I'm going with Sebastian because he's the reigning champion at this track as well. He's done so amazingly this year. Already clinched the title, as you said last time out. Just
you mean Rovanpera?
Easy points.
And also, Josh, it was Kali Rovanpera who won the championship this year. And that's the driver I'm going with to win. As I've been saying on these shows, it's really hilarious how every time I pick Kali Rovanpera to win,
that's true.
He never does, and every time I don't pick him, he wins those races. You can go back and look at all of our previous picker winners, see it for yourself. So I'm going with Kali Rovanpera to see if I can finally get one before the year ends, and watch, he's not going to win because I picked him.
What I love is that one thing that's becoming a running theme with these picker winners for the World Rally Championship, I come in going with one thing and then it's completely wrong. So I'm doing Murrayisms left, right, and center. I love this game. It's a great game as well. And it looks like you will be the champion just about. But what is it, 3 races left? Because we've got another run as well for 2 Formula Ones. So do we get
we got 2. We got 2 Formula. We got Brazil, Abu Dhabi, then we got 2 races at Adelaide. I can just pick Shane Van Gisbergen and be good there, and then 1 World Rally. So I believe that's just 5 races remaining this year.
I don't suppose because it's a sprint weekend, do we get points for qualifying and points for a sprint race?
No, and I don't even know why we have sprint races, to be honest with you. And I see Adam Limmery's picked Sebastian Ogier to win Rally Japan as well.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good. Okay, I'm in safe hands then. At least but I think he was the last person to win at this rally in Japan as well. So I'll take that as learning the ropes of World Rally Championship as well as we go. But I'm loving this game. It's so fun. Okay, it's time then to take a look at our schedule for the remainder of the week as well. Friday, as we mentioned earlier, we have our Women in Motorsports program. Saturday, Grid Live pre-race is at 12 p.m. That's noon Eastern as well. Sunday, it's different now because no NASCAR. Sunday, our Grid Live wrap-up is 90 minutes after the Formula One Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil. Monday, we've got our Grid Live Encore show with silly season news as well. So be sure to join us throughout the weekend for those. Don't forget to follow us on social media as well. TikTok as well is up and coming as well. A lot of good stuff on there. We're networking across several other social media sites. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters as well. Colin, Mark, Deshelle and Robin as well, keeping us on the air throughout 2022. And if you're feeling very generous as well and might want to buy me or Kobe a coffee, you can click the link below to join our Patreon or the Buy Me a Coffee for a one-time donation as well. And thank you to Edward, Amber and Zachary who've already done that as well this season. Also, use public.com to invest in the stock market. Use the code GRIDnet to earn free stocks as well. Get started and utilize the stock market for your own personal investment. For Kobe Lambeth at the Podium Finish, I'm Joshua Birch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities such as new companies and potential business partners and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.